going back to the 14th Amendment, it states, right, as I'm reading here, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So the appositive phrase there, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, is a touchy one because that's where the subjectivity lies. There are those who say, well, anyone born here is automatically a citizen because it just said that, except it stated those subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And
Right.
going back to what you said about law, it's like who's subject to what jurisdiction exactly?
Right.
If you come in illegally or if you're just born here, the kind of two polar opposite perspectives of like me, someone who's born here, and the illegal who comes here looking for whatever they can get, work or better life or whatever, is, or sometimes, as Trump stated in his famous first political speech in 2015, rapists, and some, I assume, are good people, you know. Going back to that, it seems that it depends what your jurisdiction is. If you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, if you're breaking laws, if you're breaking with the principle of the jurisdiction within the country, then why would you be within the jurisdiction when you're making the case that you're above the law, right? So on that perspective, illegals would not be citizens if they have a kid born here, but maybe those of us who break laws who are citizens on the other front wouldn't be citizens necessarily as well. So if you take a very strict approach to this constitutional amendment, maybe none of us have earned fully our own citizenship, I guess.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of what they say about America in general? It's like no one here within the last 350 years deserves, 300 years actually, deserves any kind of quote-unquote citizenship or permanence or feeling that they belong to this land kind of thing. I think, I guess that's kind of what it is, right? It's just, everyone here basically belongs to, well,
A tribe.
Some tribe, or on average belongs to wherever their parents came from, right? Or like their grandparents. It's like, not disjointed by like two at most, right? It's like, well, it's not really American, I guess. I don't know how else to like put. There's no other nation out there that just has this amount of diversity in like this short amount of time within its history, right? And then while still seemingly trying to like blindly unite everyone. It's like the closest I can think is Singapore. It's like you have all these East Asian sort of cultures meshing with one another, but it's not like they go out and try to unify everybody. There's like these pockets, there's like Thai town, there's Japantown, Koreatown, Chinatown, blah, blah, blah. It's not like this huge saturated mass of like, different shades of people kind of thing. So in that sense, I don't think it's possible to attain the same kind of feeling of a nation here as any other nation out there would be able to like provide for its people. I think here it's like the best you can do is be okay with who you are, where you are, and be okay with all these other random people arguing about other random people entering the nation. It's like that's all this is. It's like because there's so much change, like there's no ability for any one reference frame to like stabilize and go steady state, that you might as well just admit that at any given point things are going to be changing beyond the point of like what most people are going to find comfortable, essentially, and there's just going to be a lot of complaints about like everything from all fronts. But like I guess you can say that about any economy or society, but I feel like it is just worse here.
Well, we're more globally integrated and have more numbers of immigrants total and numbers of cultural diversity in terms of race and all, and than any other country in bulk, at least. Maybe not by percentage necessarily in every country, but at least in bulk numbers. And that makes it tough, right? Because now you're getting to the characteristics of a nation here. And I go back to the 5 characteristics of a nation, basically, that a nation just happens historically throughout history to be a certain race of people, a tribe with a certain culture, who believe a certain religious or spiritual viewpoint, enclosed within a certain border or boundary, who speak the same language. So, unfortunately, we don't really have that as a United States, because there is no American race, because there are those, like, as you implied, there were races of people here more than 350 or more than 400 years ago, but the United States itself was founded by these eastern coast colonies from Britain and other places like Spain and France, and then there were some Germans, and there's like large post 1800 kind of immigration from the European continent, and then later, early 1900s, late 1800s, you get some Asians coming to the West Coast. We have obviously the trans-African and Caribbean slave trade, also going back to the 1600s. So you have this large wave of people coming in from Africa, first against their own will, and then, in the last 100 years, by their own will. In fact, that's a weird fact about American history you might not hear too much, is more Africans came here willingly than unwillingly, because of the recent surge in immigration from Asia and Africa. You do meet people from all over, even in the middle of the country. You meet tons of Africans. I mean, a lot of people, up in certain places in the Midwest where it's very diversified, and not everyone likes that, because unfortunately this just goes back to my definition historically of a nation, that once you get too far away from homogeneity in race, culture, religion, and language, then you try to stuff a whole bunch of people within a certain border, and that's only one characteristic of a nation. If they don't all share the same culture or the same values as far as what constitutes citizenship or citizenry and civics, being a good citizen within a certain country, then it kind of ceases to actually be a cohesive country at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, just because everyone's coexisting without, like, absolutely killing each other physically and, like, eluding, doesn't mean it's a country. I mean, it's just, like, where do you draw the line? I mean, because the threshold can be pretty high for, actual just straight up psychotic looting and whatnot. But like, I guess what was I thinking about? I guess I'm just thinking about more analogies, basically, where I guess my number one analogy would just be Disneyland or Disney World. Like, you have all these people from different backgrounds and cultures meeting up in this one spot that is kind of like this dreamland, where everyone goes into it knowing that it's dreamy, that everyone else who goes there also sees it as dreamy, and when they get there, everyone's kind of in this weird dreamy bubble, this facade of like, oh, everything's going to be good because we're in Disneyland, or like everything's fine because we're in America, or whatever. It's almost that kind of thing, but is it really fine? I mean, Disneyland's just like, set up. Well, if you really want to peel it, like, it's just like a whole bunch of dark animatronic things that like lie to you all the time, and like crazy 20-year-old ladies who like got treated like 12-year-olds since they were 8 or something, and they're just like have all these creepy smiles on their faces, and they look really happy on the outside, but really deep down they're all miserable, and you kind of know that, but you want to lie to yourself and say, hey, I'm feeling down. I just want to come here and forget it all and just feel light about things, right? It's like other people from other countries, oh man, this war's crazy, or like my government's super oppressive. I just want to like chill. Oh, there's like this America thing where like everyone just kind of goes there. It kind of feels like this vacation country or something for like nations that are super oppressed or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, let's just go there and like work and bring some money back. Right, and it's never like this stay permanent kind of mindset. It's like you don't go to Disneyland thinking like, oh, let's just go stay there, like. Yeah,
that'll solve our problems. Like, is it really that small of a world after all? I mean,
no, yeah, exactly.
I like the ride. It's got all that diversity in there, but does everyone really get along all that well? Like in that tunnel, it's a small world after all. I don't think so, unfortunately.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, taking the analogy further. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like basically, right? So, I mean, that's kind of how I see it too. So America is just the Disneyland, but in the country form, in nation form. and so no one comes here with the mentality of they want to stay here. They just want to get what they can get and get back out and go back, quote unquote, home. wherever that was. And so I would say that their quote unquote home was some kind of nation that, they actually identify, with culturally, traditionally, whatever it is. And so, America can't be it. I would say, for most people in America, especially in the big cities, it's really hard to say that, oh yeah, I'm pure-blooded American kind of thing. It's like, no, I don't know if I feel that way. It's like, I don't know that many white people, man. I'm just gonna be honest.
Right. Well, some areas it's kind of mixed, almost half and half in the major cities, or if not, kind of white people are the minority, and obviously some cities,
Right.
especially some, maybe Philadelphia, and then some areas in the Southwest, obviously, and the West Coast. But others, it's kind of like slight majority, and it's kind of trending towards maybe everyone being a minority by the mid-2030s or so, if not, at least by 2040. Everyone will be a minority by then, effectively. And the thing about that is, unfortunately, and for millennials, it's already everyone is a minority, I think. The people, or at least the people being born right now, nobody is the majority within that generation. Everyone is a minority.